Okay, so today we're diving into a topic that I think a lot of people find fascinating, and that is how Elon Musk built his fortune.
Yeah, it's a really it's kind of a wild story when you look back on it.
Right, and I mean everybody knows him now from Tesla and SpaceX,
Of course. Yeah.
but we've got a bunch of articles here that we've been digging through, and one of them actually has a really interesting title. It's called, and I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly, Ko Aja Ai,
Wow.
which translates to the pasted text. So
Interesting.
yeah, so that's one of the sources. But we've got a whole stack here, and what we're going to do is really try to break down how he went from kind of this .com guy to this I guess space pioneer is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean and just this incredible amount of wealth, right? I mean, we're talking one of the richest people in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh.
let's jump in because a lot of people might be surprised to find out that his success actually started way before Tesla and SpaceX, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I find the most fascinating is that he wasn't just sort of this overnight success with those companies.
Yeah, I mean he had some serious wins under his belt before he even got to those.
Oh yeah, for sure. And those early wins are, I think, really what laid the foundation for everything that came later.
So let's rewind the clock a little bit. We're talking like the mid '90s here. The internet is just starting to really take off.
Yeah, the wild west of the internet, right?
Exactly. And he starts this company called Zip2.
Zip 2, yeah.
Have you ever heard of this? I mean, I don't know. I was kind of surprised to learn about this
Yeah.
one.
It wasn't as well known as some of his later ventures, but it was definitely a big deal at the time.
It was basically like, if you think about it, like a combination of like Yelp and Google Maps before those even existed.
Right, yeah, it was like an online city guide.
So you could find businesses, you could get directions. It was actually pretty revolutionary for its time.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that he sold it for $307 million, I mean, that's incredible.
That's a lot of money, and especially back then. I mean, the internet was still, it wasn't the behemoth that it is today.
Yeah, so I mean, not only did he get that huge financial win, but also, think about the experience he gained from that.
Right, right.
Building an online platform, figuring out how to scale a business, all that stuff is just invaluable.
And he kind of took those lessons, and it's
Yeah.
almost like he used that as like a springboard, right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
he jumps right into PayPal after that.
Yeah, and PayPal, I mean, that was huge, right?
So he goes from this online city guide to tackling like the world of online payments.
Yeah, and at a time when, people were still really hesitant to put their credit card information online.
I mean, people were nervous, right?
Mm.
They didn't know if it was safe. They didn't, it was very new territory.
Yeah, it was like the frontier of e-commerce, and
Well,
he was right there on the front lines.
and of course, as we all know, eBay ends up buying PayPal for a cool $1.5 billion.
Right, and that's when he really, I think, made his first, really big fortune.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, a lot of people would have been like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to retire. I'm going to, go live on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, kick back, relax, right?
But not Elon Musk.
No, no, not him.
He's like, all right, what's next?
He's got bigger fish to fry.
And so he decides to dive into not one, but two industries that, I mean, at the time, people thought were crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, looking back now, it seems almost obvious, but back then, it was like, what is this guy thinking?
Electric cars and space travel.
Talk about ambitious.
I mean, these were not small potatoes, right?
No, these were industries that were, dominated by these huge players, these
Yeah,
giants.
and they were kind of stuck in their ways, right? It was like electric cars were seen as, kind of like golf carts.
Yeah, like impractical, slow,
Yeah.
not very cool.
Not the Teslas that we see today.
Right, exactly. And space travel. I mean, that was basically the domain of governments.
Yeah, NASA, it was this huge bureaucratic, slow-moving thing.
And expensive. Yeah, incredibly expensive.
But Musk saw something different, right? He saw the potential for innovation.
He saw the opportunity to disrupt these industries, to shake things up, to do things differently.
So let's talk about Tesla first, because that's probably what he's most known for these days.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla has become synonymous with electric cars, really.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, he didn't actually start Tesla.
Right, he was an early investor.
He came in, he was like, this is the future. I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is.
And he had this vision, right, of making electric cars not just practical, but desirable.
Yeah, he wanted to make them cool, he wanted to make them sexy, he wanted to make them something that people actually wanted to drive.
Yeah, not just something you drove because you were trying to save the planet.
Right? It was like, this is a cool car that happens to be electric.
Exactly. And that's what I think really set Tesla apart.
And he focused on, building these high-performance vehicles, sleek designs, cutting-edge technology.
And he also, addressed the big issue with electric cars, which was range anxiety.
Yeah, people were worried about, running out of juice in the middle of nowhere.
Right. So he built this network of supercharging stations so you could, travel long distances.
Yeah, and it was like he kind of flipped a switch, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it was like everyone wanted a Tesla.
Yeah, it became this status symbol, this must-have car.
And that's reflected in the company's stock price. I mean, it's just skyrocketed.
Yeah, I mean, it's become one of the most valuable car companies in the world.
Which is insane when you think about, where it started.
It's a testament to his vision, to his execution, to his ability to convince people that, this was the future.
Now, let's talk about SpaceX, because this is where things get even crazier, right?
Yeah, space travel, I mean, that's a whole other level.
And his goal with SpaceX was basically to make space travel more affordable and accessible.
Yeah, to democratize space, essentially.
And the key to that, and this is where it gets a little bit technical, but the key to that was reusable rockets.
Yeah, that was the game changer.
So, for those of us who aren't rocket scientists, can you explain what's so special about reusable rockets?
So traditionally, when you launch a rocket into space, the booster rockets, which are the really expensive part, they just fall back into the ocean.
Right, they're gone.
They're gone, millions of dollars just, sunk to the bottom of the sea.
Yeah, so every launch is basically starting from scratch.
Exactly. But with reusable rockets, you can land those boosters back on Earth and then use them again.
Like landing a plane.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like landing a plane vertically.
That sounds terrifying.
It is pretty incredible, yeah. And this dramatically reduces the cost of each launch.
So all of a sudden, space travel becomes a lot more feasible.
Yeah, and that's why SpaceX has been able to, offer competitive prices for launching satellites, sending cargo to the International Space Station, and even, sending astronauts up there.
Yeah, and they've got these really ambitious plans for, Mars colonization and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
So, I mean, looking at all of this, it's clear that Musk is not afraid to take risks, right?
Oh, yeah, he's a risk taker, for sure.
I mean, he's betting on these huge, long shot ideas, but he's also, he's got this incredible drive to execute.
Yeah, I mean, he's not just a dreamer, he's a doer, and that's, I think, a really important part of his success.
So is there a secret sauce here? Is there a Musk formula that we can all try to emulate?
I think there are definitely some key ingredients that we can learn from.
Okay, give us the breakdown.
So first of all, it's that visionary thinking, right? He's able to identify these massive future trends.
Yeah, he's not just, following the trends. He's creating the trends.
Yeah, exactly. He's looking ahead. He's thinking about what's going to be big in 10, 20, 30 years.
And he's not afraid to go all in.
Yeah, he's willing to put his money, his time, his energy, everything into these ideas.
And then there's this long-term focus, right?
Yeah, he's not looking for quick wins. He's thinking about building companies that could potentially change the world.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla, SpaceX, these are not your typical startups.
No, these are legacy companies. These are companies that are going to be around for a long time.
And that ties into his relentless drive to execute, right?
Yeah, he sets these incredibly ambitious goals, and he pushes himself and everyone around him to achieve them.
Yeah, I mean, he's known for being, very demanding, very intense.
He's got a reputation for being a tough boss, but he also inspires a lot of loyalty.
Yeah, people want to work for him. They want to be a part of his vision.
Because they believe in him. They believe in what he's trying to do.
And then we can't forget about, the strategic use of stock ownership.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
I mean, he owns a huge chunk of Tesla and SpaceX.
And that means that his personal wealth is directly tied to the success of those companies.
So it's not just about building companies. It's about building companies that he has a major stake in.
Right. He's not just an entrepreneur. He's also an investor.
And that, I think, gives him a different level of motivation, right?
Yeah. It's like, it's his baby. He's got skin in the game.
So, we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah. It's been a fascinating journey.
It's amazing to see how he's gone from, this .com entrepreneur to this space pioneer.
And built this incredible fortune along the way.
But it makes you wonder, right? How much of his success is attributable to, his sheer determination his brilliance, his vision,
Right, his unique set of skills and personality.
and how much of it is, being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, being born into a certain time period, having access to certain
I mean,
resources.
those are all factors, right?
Yeah, it's a complex equation. There's no simple answer.
But I think it's a question worth pondering, as we think about our own journeys, our own ambitions.
Yeah, what can we learn from his story? What can we apply to our own lives?
And that's something for you to think about, as you continue to explore this topic.
Yeah, keep digging, keep learning, keep asking questions.
And we'll be back next time with another deep dive.
See you then.
All right, take care.